Iran says it has no intention of negotiating with the US, at least for now. But President Donald Trump and his White House continue to insist that talks are ongoing. They have a warning for Iran: accept defeat or face hell. The mixed messages dashed hopes of any imminent de-escalation as the violence on the ground showed no sign of abating after almost 4 weeks. President Trump reiterated claims that Iranian leaders are part of peace talks, suggesting that Tehran's denials are because negotiators fear being killed.
I tell you, we're winning so big, nobody's ever seen anything like we're doing in the Middle East with Iran. And they are negotiating, by the way, and they want to make a deal so badly, but they're afraid to say it because they figure they'll be killed by their own people. They're also afraid they'll be killed by us.
Earlier, Iran's state media had reported that Tehran had rejected a US plan to end the war. But Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi later indicated that Iran is still reviewing the proposal.
We want the war to end, but on our terms, in a way that ensures it will not be repeated and that our enemies learn a lesson, so they will not even contemplate attacking Iran again. Second, the damage suffered by the people of Iran must be compensated.
Araghchi said that friendly countries have conveyed messages, but this does not amount to dialogue.
They have put forward some ideas. I saw in 1 or 2 places that it was described as a 15-point plan, but these were presented as various proposals. All of them have been conveyed to the country's senior authorities, and if it becomes necessary to take a position, that will certainly be decided. For now, our policy is to continue resisting and to continue defending the country. At present, we have no intention of negotiating, and no negotiations have taken place.
The White House has said that reports on a supposed 15-point plan are not fully accurate, but also did not provide specifics.
Continue. They are productive, as the president said on Monday, and they continue to be. However, I saw a 15-point plan that was floated in the media. I would caution reporters in this room from reporting about speculative points or speculative plans from anonymous sources. The White House never confirmed that full plan. There are elements of truth to it, but some of the stories I read were not entirely factual.
Well, Caroline Levitt added that President Trump intends to harm Iran harder if Tehran fails to accept that it has been defeated militarily.
There does not need to be any more death and destruction. But if Iran fails to accept the reality of the current moment, if they fail to understand that they have been defeated militarily and will continue to be, President Trump will ensure they are hit harder than they have ever been hit before. President Trump does not bluff, and he is prepared to unleash hell. Iran should not miscalculate again.
Iran earlier issued 5 conditions to end the war. Well, these include guarantees that Israel or US will not resume the war. It also wants compensation for war damages and cessation of hostilities on all regional fronts. It has demanded to exercise sovereignty over the Strait of Hormuz. Meanwhile, Iran has threatened to open a new front by targeting Red Sea shipping. Iran could block the Bab el-Mandeb Strait, which connects the Indian Ocean to the Red Sea and the Suez Canal. The threat comes as thousands of more US troops are headed to the region, and reports say Pentagon is thinking of sending more. White House refused to comment on potential for boots on the ground, but said it would require formal authorization from Congress. Any such request may face resistance in Congress, and Republican Congresswoman Nancy Mace says she will not be supporting the deployment of US troops after a briefing on the conflict. And for more on this, our correspondent Susan Tehrani has sent us this report from New York. Take a look.
White House Press Secretary Caroline Levitt says that Washington is still pursuing a diplomatic off-ramp as fighting continues with Iran. The Trump administration insists that talks with Iranian officials are ongoing, even though Iran denies it. At the same time, the military situation is also intensifying. U.S. officials are moving additional troops towards the Middle East, and the Pentagon is now weighing options that could include sending thousands of ground forces to operations around Iran's key oil hub, Kharg Island. So right now, the situation shows two tracks moving at once. Diplomacy continues behind the scene, at least that's what Washington says, while both sides are preparing for a possible escalation on the ground. Susan Tehrani reporting from New York for WION World is One.